Well, hello everyone. I am once again going to try out something new here. I just got my Nintendo Switch back from the Nintendo Warranty Center, and I'm going to try in this live stream just to see if it works. It looks like it's going to, but one unfortunate side effect of having to get my Switch back was that I lost all of my game save data. And so in this stream, I'm going to try to get some of my game save data back. In other words, I'm going to have to start rebeating some games here. Give me just a little bit to get situated here, and I'll get started with the stream. Alright, again, if you guys are just joining me, I am going to be testing out my Nintendo Switch, which I just got fresh back from the Warranty Center. My Nintendo Switch had an issue about a month ago where whenever I turned it on, it just wouldn't get past the Nintendo Switch logo. So I sent it into the Warranty Center about a month ago. It was about the beginning of July, actually. And it took about the entire month for them to get it back to me. And it looks like that all of my game save data has been completely deleted. I'm assuming they had to replace the center part of the console, because I got the Joy-Cons back. They're definitely mine because I have my name on them. But it looks like that they replaced the center console, or at least gotten rid of all the save data that was on it. So it looks like I'm going to have to replay this game to beat everything that I had on there, and that's what this stream is going to be all about. So I appreciate you guys who are joining us. Another thing, if you guys want, while you're here, take a look. I've got my Twitter and Instagram information off the sides. If you're on there, I'd appreciate you guys' support. Also, I am currently at 288 subscribers out of my goal of 1,000. I'm trying to get there as soon as possible, mainly because my channel, the channel is already a year old, but the Player One Start show is actually just about a year old. It's going to be at the end of this month, and I'm hoping to get as close to 1,000 as I can, if not exceeding it, by the end of August. So, again, I'm just getting situated here, getting started. I'll be starting out in just a minute or so, if you guys want to go ahead and leave a comment there. Hey, how's it going, Nick? Very happy you could join me here on the stream. Again, I'm going to mute myself for a second while I get started. While I get set up. Alright. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Again, as I get started, I actually already went through this just a little bit ago to see if any of my game save data was there, even though they gave me a sheet telling me it wasn't. So I've already played the first race on here. I went ahead and went to 150cc. As you can see, I've got the gold trophy for the Mushroom Cup. My goal tonight is to get as far as I can, possibly get all of the trophies back that I had, at least up to 150cc. I'm not quite sure if mirrored mode will give me back my trophies that I've lost all the way back down to 50. I know at one point it stops going down. I figured that out last time, or maybe it doesn't anymore since they possibly did an update since then. I used to pick Toad, but Yoshi is my favorite Mario character. And I'm going to start out with I'm going to have to start with the stock equipment because I have nothing from before. So, of course, if I tried to race online right now, I don't know if I'd get my rear handed to me or not. Oh, that's alright, there's no problem. I know there's a lot of people who are out there streaming that, for one reason or another, you have to miss mine. I mean, there's a ton of us out there, so I have no problem if you guys have to miss one of my streams. I don't do it often, I just do it when I can. And my apologies if I'm racing and I ignore you, mainly because I don't know, I have a hard trouble walking and breathing at the same time, so gaming and communicating has not always been my forte, especially since I have to stop and read what you guys have. Oh. We got rid of shots. Well, looks like everything is working. That's a good sign. The Switch actually came back. It looked like it was completely up to date. At least it didn't tell me there was an update as soon as I fired up the Switch, like it did when I first got it out of the box. So I wonder if getting it from the warranty center, I wonder what all they had to do, because they really didn't say much except for, yes, we replaced a defective part in your system. And I'm wondering, did that mean replacing the system board inside, or did they just replace the entire screen part of my Switch? I've heard that it's a good idea if you take your car to a mechanic to label some of the parts inside, so that, if they say, oh, your alternator's gone bad, and we had to replace it, and they charge you for it. That was a way, I think I saw this back on 2020 or something back in the day. They said to mark it somehow so that only you know if it's original part or not. Or you can tell if they're scamming you. I don't think Nintendo scammed me at all, I just want to know what they actually replaced in my system. Oh, that was the last one. So yeah, I finally got my Switch back. That's what I'm playing now. I did think about going back and playing this on the Wii U, but I don't know. I can't remember what they all changed from the Wii U version. It's been so long since I played it. This game just seems, I don't know, I've gotten used to it, so I don't know if I can go back to playing another one. I tried playing the Wii version the other day, and I forgot how unfair and punishing that game really is. I remember getting hit by like a blue spiny shell almost every 30 seconds. It was at least twice a lap. There I'm talking and I got my timing all mixed up. To tell you the truth, for 150cc, this game seems a little bit easier than I even remember. Even now that I say that, I'm probably going to forget a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, I missed one. Yeah, it's still fun on the Wii. I have to say that I really enjoy it. I'm just, as I said, I'm so used to this one now that going back to the Wii version, I'm having a hard time getting back on the track. Oh, you know what? The auto steering's back on. I can't remember how to shut that off. That was weird because it wasn't steering in the direction that I was putting it in. It was just wanting to go wherever it really wanted to. At least now that I'm back in 9th, it'll give me some sweet power-ups. There we go. It is not often I am on the giving end of that lightning bolt. But anyway, going back to the Wii, yeah, that was my favorite version, even when the Wii U version came out. Well, like I said, I can't remember what all they changed, but I remember they changed something in this edition that was really bugging me in the Wii U and the Wii version. So, like I said, it's the difference between an A and an A+. This is the A+ title, and the Wii was an A title. So. It's really weird that the auto steering was back on. Of course, I'm in first place now, so it's got to hit me with everything they got. Oh, no, it's second. Back and forth. Blue Slider, yeah. I always try to stop when I get hit by one of those to see if I can take out somebody else with me. It's almost all you can do. Well, I may... Nope. Oh. Whew. Haven't played on the Wii U yet. But I'll tell you, you're not alone. There's not very many people who have played the Wii U version because not very many people bought the Wii U. Isn't it been like, since the Switch has been out, I know for a fact now it's definitely surpassed it, but I think it only took a year for Nintendo to sell as many Switches as they did Wii U's in 5 years. Has it been 5 years since the Wii U came out? Yeah. So what games have you been playing lately? And I won't judge you, but please don't say Fortnite. To be honest, when my Switch was broken and I had to go back to my PS4, realizing I hadn't played my PS4 in a while, I thought about playing Fortnite, but then I ended up playing God of War instead, which that is an amazing game. I've always been a fan of the God of War series, but I don't know, I think they've outdone themselves in the PlayStation version. Now that I got into God of War, I gotta get back into the Switch. only this was the last lap. Ooh, I don't know how I missed that, but oh, please hit me. We might let that take over first just as soon as someone launches its final shot. Oh, PS4 Smite. Now, what is Smite? Am I missing something? I don't know if I know what that is. Alan Wake on 360. I haven't played that, but I've heard someone talk about it. It's been a few weeks ago now, saying that was pretty good. It's good you still got your 360 hooked up there. It's now that Microsoft's offering 360 backwards compatibility, which is somewhat beyond me they didn't offer at the beginning. I still think that's something that PlayStation should still continue to support, but I guess if people are willing to buy the same games again instead of just have it natively supported, I guess it's really up to them. So you got your first 360 console? Was it the original 360, the white edition? It rarely works out, but as I said, whenever I get a blue spiny shell, I always try to stop and see if I can take someone out with me. The reason why I asked if that was the original white 360 is I was wondering if it ever... Did you ever have the issue of the 3 red rings of death? I know it's been years since I even thought about that. But that was something I always used to bring up to the Xbox fans up until the PlayStation Network got hacked in around, what was that, 2009, 2010. That was right before I got out of the mindset that you had to be loyal to only one console. I was a PS3 guy back then, and literally everyone I knew except for a couple were Xbox 360 people, so I wasn't able to play online very much. No, not yet. That's good. I guess they got most of those taken care of. Wasn't that like a defect that only affected so many of them, or that wasn't like a design flaw? I remember my first PS3 actually conked out because they had a design flaw in it and they had to fix it. That's part of the reason why they got rid of backwards compatibility altogether. Because they were having problems with the systems overheating with the extra hardware they had in there for backwards compatibility, so they said. Alright, so I've reclaimed the flower trophy, and I've unlocked another vehicle customization. if I had a nitpick about this game, let's see how many trophies are there. If there's 10, that'd be perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, there's 12. So I'm probably, what, about 18% of the way back to where I was? And another cart I never used. But you're going to see me use some of the stock equipment up until I unlock the vehicles that I had. I can't even remember what it was. To tell you the truth, it was just always the default. One nitpick I have about this game is that every single time you beat a race, it doesn't just automatically take you back to the select the race menu. You have to go all the way back through the menu, select your character, select your vehicle. Again, that's a nitpick. That's nothing that's... almost too terrible. So when I first got my Switch, I got this game, and I got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I'm just now realizing that I'm going to have to go back through and beat my way through Breath of the Wild just to get back to where I was. Which is not bad, I don't know. I mean, I understand Nintendo probably had no chance of saving the data, but when I got the sheet back, it actually just had a checkmark box that says, oh, we just powered your system off and on again. The next box said, oh, we replaced a part. The third checkmark box is, we could not save any of your data. And I think to myself, if they have that as an option that they can just check off, how much are they really trying to save your data if they really don't have to? I mean, like, what's it to them? If they're like, well, we could get down to the bottom of this and replace one part on your board, or we can just replace the whole thing, which is 10 times easier, and just check this box that says we couldn't save any data. Like, I'm wondering how hard they try. I gotta tell you, I didn't think I would play the Switch as much. I really only got it because it's portable. I still don't know. So you still don't have a Switch? I only got it because I'm like, well, it's going to be portable. So I thought, I don't like packing up my PlayStation and taking it over to friends' houses. Not that anyone games face-to-face anymore. It's pretty much all online. See, now the more I'm talking, I'm not doing so well there is. But I thought, if I get the Switch, it'll, number one, be portable, so, I don't take too many car trips anymore while I'm not driving, but I figured, it'll help me relieve boredom in certain places. And I just went on vacation right before I had to ship this into Nintendo. I took this to Philadelphia and Boston, and we played this on the road in the hotel room, and I thought, that's where I finally felt like I got my money's worth out of this console. Because of its portability. I really don't feel like the PlayStation or the Xbox is as portable. I don't have an Xbox One yet. I'm kind of waiting for the cheapest possible time to buy one. As a gaming console, it's fun too. But actually, I was just, when I turned on my Switch for the first time and I signed into the Nintendo Online service, I saw that Nintendo is finally going to start launching their paid online service. Because right now, all online service, or online gaming, through Nintendo has been free. And I kind of thought, hey, that's a leg up they have over every other console. I thought that when I bought the Switch. But now comes September, it's now going to be a paid service. And I forgot what the pricing is on it. It did say on there it doesn't seem as expensive as PlayStation or Xbox. But I have to think to myself, if you have all three consoles, that's 3 online subscription services. Plus if you do PC gaming, which I have to do a couple, then you have to pay for like Steam or some other service. And I'm wondering if this is going to force people back into only being, you know, a one console type of person. Not that that's a bad thing, but I just kind of felt like we got past that, and now all this online subscription service we have to subscribe to. It's kind of like when people ask me, are you a Netflix person? Or are you a Amazon Prime or probably Hulu or Sling kind of person? You know, as much as I try to subscribe to more than one. Or I say this, if you can get a good deal going, I pay for Amazon Prime, and like my parents pay for Netflix. But then again, I think, based on whoever else I talk to, I think everyone, either parents or friends, I don't think anyone actually pays for Netflix. I think we're all just using one person's account. Of course, obviously, I guess somebody has to be paying for it, because they're making literally billions of dollars just from streaming media. But I'm hearing that soon that's probably going to be going away as Fox makes its way to Disney, and Disney plans on pulling all of their content off of there eventually, starting their own service. Yeah, you have to have gold online for Xbox. I agree. I mean, that was a sore point for me. I almost didn't get a PS4 when it launched, mainly because I'd have to start paying for service. That was like a big benefit for the PS3, is that, you know, they came out with that slogan. Yeah, I usually get it as a, I usually get PlayStation Plus as a Christmas present, because people know I won't buy it for myself. This last year I did not, so my PlayStation Plus subscription ran out, and I didn't really notice a difference. Except for my nephew played Fortnite on my PS4. So yes, I do have a copy of Fortnite on there, unless I deleted it. And I know I don't have PlayStation Plus, so I wonder if does that not require the PlayStation Plus service to play online? Or did I just get did he sign me up for like a free trial or something? Or did he actually buy me a PlayStation Plus subscription, and I didn't know? Oh yeah, Yoshi is my favorite Nintendo character next to Kirby. I like Yoshi because he's green, and green is my favorite color. I also like Link for the same reason. But Yoshi is one of my favorite characters. And back in the day, I thought he was one of the characters that handled the most frequently, although I don't think it matters now which character you pick. It just matters which cart you pick for what the specs are. I remember Bowser and Donkey Kong are always like the slow ones. So thanks for joining me, T-Tech Trab. You missed the beginning. I think you remember my Switch was actually broken. I had to send it in to Nintendo, and this is my first time playing it since I got it back. I actually got it in the mail this afternoon and decided to try it out to make sure it worked. Looks like they did the trick. But they did delete, or I guess they had to replace the system board, which there went all my save data. So now I'm rebeating Mario Kart. I just realized I'm going to have to replay and rebeat Super Mario Odyssey. I didn't even get half of the moons that are possible in that game. But now I'm going to have to, I think I had like 500. And now I'm going to have to go back and get all 500 of those moons before I can keep going. I think that's going to be a different live stream. I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. Yeah, I'm not doing it. If he comes in all colors just like Cody. Yeah, he does now. I actually saw that. And you know what? Even if he's not green, I still like Yoshi. Oh yeah, Xbox. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can read that. Comes to a straight away here. So Xbox free games but can't play without gold. Yeah, that's kind of like the bait and switch thing, I thought. That's PlayStation did. Because oh, I didn't realize that was the last lap. Should have paid more attention. Yeah, because PlayStation said online free forever. And then when the PS4 came out, they said online was free forever for the PS3. The PS4 is something completely different. You have to pay for that one. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you got it now. I mean, that was the perfect time for me to abandon the PS4 if I was going to, because I didn't have to worry about backwards compatibility. I know, it's been, what, 4 or 5 years, and I'm still bitter about that. I think the reason that I cared about backwards compatibility the most, at least for PS3 to PS4, was Rock Band. Because I had probably spent the most, on that generation, I spent the most money on DLC was for that game. I had not bought DLC for any other game as much as I did for Rock Band. And it couldn't have mattered less at the time. Rock Band was pretty much on its way out. Nobody was playing it anymore except for me. Every now and again, a friend and I will bust it out just kind of nostalgically. Oh man. That did kind of irk me a little bit. And then there was no, like, Rock Band 4. I never expected there to be another Rock Band after Rock Band 3. Because Harmonix, the company that made it, had gone bankrupt. And MTV Games pretty much was defunct at that point in time, too. So it's amazing to me that they ever released another one. And they supported the DLC packs. That was the right thing to do. They supported the DLC packs. Did I just block that spiny shell with my horn? Is that a thing? Can you do that? Huh. That surprised me. There's 3 banana peels in the bridge in between. I really should start paying attention to this. So yeah, whatever my train of thought was, I can't remember what I was saying because I just realized that I can block a spiny shell with the horn. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to keep paying for online, or I'm start paying for online for it across the finish line. Yeah. LOL, it's all good. Sony Live. It sound like, yep. I play Smite, don't need PlayStation Plus, yeah. Most of the stuff that I do on my PlayStation, I actually don't play online that much. The only game I played online for a while was Rocket League, and that's because you can't play it without playing it online. And that game is fun online. But games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, I like playing those games online, but I don't have the time to devote to them in order to get good enough to the people who are spending like 20 to 24 hours a day memorizing every single spot where you can hide and snipe people and all the respawn points. I just don't have that time anymore. PS3 to play. Yeah. Alright, 3 out of 12. Somebody do the math on that one, and that's what % of the way I'm through. Should I... Green is my favorite color, though. I like the red Yoshis. I'm gonna pick a red one. How does this affect my speed? As I thought, I like having... I like the configuration of the standard card up until I've unlocked one later on. So I'm still staying with the stamina. Hashtag adult problems, man. It's crazy not having the time. I barely have enough time to keep up with the Super Channel. Yeah, I don't know how. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. I don't know how. Number one, you find as many games to play on your channel as you do, because all the games that you've played, I've either never heard of or never come across my radar. But two, the amount of games you cover on your channel is great. So I'm glad you keep it up. Yeah, tonight is a rare occurrence. In the middle of the week, I get time to, I'll say this time, it means more than an hour, to actually play through a game. So, I can only imagine when I start having a family how much time that'll take. I see a lot of people on here, like there's a group for retro gaming dads, I think they're called. And they talk about retro gaming, and it looks like they can spend a lot of time devoted to it. And I couldn't imagine having a wife and kids and still trying to keep up with doing the channel. Some people don't realize this, but I actually work 2 jobs. I have a full-time job, which I go in more 40 plus hours a week, and then I also have a part-time job where I teach classes online. So between those two is I'm also doing the channel, and that takes up pretty much the majority of my time. I appreciate that. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I don't get to watch your videos as much as I would like, T-Tech Trout, mainly because, like I said, it's that time issue. I try to catch you when I can, especially when you do your live streams, because I like it when you guys do that, but I don't, it's very rare. If I feel like I can do one or the other, I can either make videos on YouTube or watch videos. It doesn't really seem like I ever have time to do both at the same time. My original plan was, whoops, oh, I keep forgetting that auto steering is on. I gotta figure out how to shut that off again. Nope, shit. I originally bought this capture card in order to do a lot more live streaming, but I got the card after saving up for a while. I actually got it with partly with an Amazon gift card that. Partly with an Amazon gift card that I had gotten for Christmas the previous year. Did I get this card this year? Anyway. My wild ramblings. I got the card with the intention of doing some more live streaming without planning the time for it. So, I actually, when I do all of my video games, when I do it for capture, Don keeps pushing. You have a Don? Is that like the Godfather? Do you work for a gang boss? My Don keeps pushing me to make YouTube videos. Oh, I actually read that as Keats. Yeah, anyway, so I got this card, which takes an HDMI. It's an Elgato HD capture card. Definitely not a plug, even though I did buy it. I'm not endorsed by them in any way, shape, or form. I got it mainly to do live streaming because my traditional capture setup is just a DVD recorder, and that's what I have everything hooked into. Every console that does not have an HDMI is hooked into an old school DVD recorder that I got in 2005 as a replacement to my aging VCR. So like everything from my Atari, ColecoVision, to the Nintendo, I think the latest console I had plugged into it is now the Wii. Everything that has a composite is hooked up to that. And then everything with an HDMI, I thought can hook up to this capture card, and then I can do some live streams with it. However, I'm not one of those people who are really determined to get the best possible image out of their gaming system, because I think sometimes, you know, I don't want to say the worse the image looks, but I'll say it looks more authentic through a composite, because that's the way I'm used to. That's the way I'm used to playing. That's why I also have all those still hooked up to a CRT television, because I'm not trying to upscale it to 1080p and then try to put a filter on it so it looks better. I think it just automatically looks better in the lower resolution, and I play it the way it was intended. Yeah, I'm 50-50 on that, showing my face on camera. I have actually, in the past, I can't remember if it was a Twitter poll, or maybe I did it during a YouTube stream, but I asked people if they'd rather see my face and when I'm streaming, and I kind of got indifferent results, about 50-50. Nothing insulting, just, I don't know, the reason why I still show my face is because I actually, since I teach online, they tell you when you're teaching online courses that they want you to show your face to your students because they never see you in person. And that's the same for YouTube. And so this is kind of me, out of habit, just putting my face out there. I know I'm not maybe the best thing to look at, but I guess it makes it more personal, if that makes sense. And who knows, maybe I won't tell you who it was, but there was a YouTuber I was watching that really pushed me over the edge to start a YouTube channel. And part of it was, if that person can have a YouTube channel, and he just looks like a regular average guy, and he can have, you know, thousands of subscribers, then maybe I have a shot. So, and I'm sure people all have that story, and I'm sure that someday, maybe if I ever get to my 1,000, maybe someone else will have that story to tell about me. Oh, I saw this one guy who shouldn't have put his face on YouTube, but he did, and it gave me the courage to finally put mine, because if he can do it. Sorry, I didn't mean to get quiet all of a sudden. Just starting to concentrate better on this. There we go. So what is the least useful power on Mario Kart? And you can go ever if you want. I'm just going to focus on the ones on here. My personal pick, I'll wait to see if anyone else wants to chime in before I tell you mine, because I don't want to influence the decision. What do you think the least helpful power-up on Mario Kart? Now, if it helps narrow it down, always think about the ones you get when you're in first place. He is just always pounding the side that I get. And it's like, oh, I'll read your comment here and say, oh, that was not good. That was not good. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm racing online. I'm in first place, and all of a sudden, 50 red shells out of nowhere. It's already bad enough that people ask a question. Yeah, it's a thin line. To tell you the truth, like some of the bigger YouTubers that are out there, I mean, they actually put their name out there too. Not directly, like they have their screen name, but throughout the years of getting to know them, like I'll just give you an example of someone who just put their name out there was the Ben Heck Show. He just started with his name, and I guess it was maybe because he was sponsored. But yeah, I have an issue about that too, just a little bit. So that's why I started, this channel under the name Player One Start, which people always refer to me as Player One, and that's great. I have no problem with people doing that. But I have no problem saying my name's Tyler, but getting my last name in there, that will rarely, if ever, happen. To date, I don't think I've done it. Yeah, I have no problem going with by Tyler. I think Quest would be an awesome last name. Yes, Quest is my real name. Nick is in the middle. Well, that's cool. I guess another thing too is I don't intentionally hide my last name, but it's just a name. It doesn't roll off your tongue. It's now people are going to try to guess it or try to figure it out, I guess, but it's just not a name that rolls off the tongue. And believe it or not, this is the first time I'll probably say this too, I was a high school teacher for 3 years. And I still work in the field of public education, so people still have to call me Mr. by my last name. And it's funny to watch the expression on their face as they try to pronounce it. It's not particularly difficult, but 9 times out of 10 you're just going to get it wrong because it has a weird pronunciation to it. So... And I guess that's probably why on this profile, because I want to be informal, I don't want you to have to say Mr. my last name. That's I guess that's the reason why I didn't start with using my last name. Because when I hear my last name, I think I'm in a different environment, a more professional environment. And I want this to be very informal and laid back. He said, no, not really. Is that kind of the case that the grass is always greener on the other side? Yes, Quest is a one-syllable word, and Nick is also a one-syllable word. Now, I have 2 syllables in my first name, and I guess 2 syllables in my last name, too. But speaking of, like not letting your name out, do you ever do any of those personality surveys that they put out there? I guess it's not really a personality survey, but they'll say something like, the street you grew up on and your first pet's name, put those together and post it in the comments, and that's your stripper name. I think to myself, yeah, those are 2 questions they never ask you for security reasons. Like, why would you put that online? And I guess the same thing with personality tests, too. A lot of those, actually, that's part of the thing I think Facebook is getting in trouble for, is a personality survey. Let's go and do Mr. One. Ooh, I got a new bike. I'll probably eventually switch over to the bike, but I'm just going to, as I said, keep sticking with the standard until I get the combo that I want. Oh, no. Yeah, and so I think that's part of the thing that, I guess, I don't know if Facebook got in trouble for it, but it was an app that they were asking for personality questions, and they were really, I don't think they were trying to maliciously go after your data, but what they were doing was selling it to the people that wanted to do that, and that's why they were collecting it. So I don't know. So I'm kind of cautious. I mean, I'll share things online. I have no problem with that. But if it's something that I really think should stay private, I mean, that's part of the issue of the age that we live in. You know, it's all about trying to figure out what you should keep private. And coming from the public education sector, I mean, that's something, social media has scared the living daylights out of me. It's the exact opposite of the way I am now. And, you know, it's a two-way street. You can post a lot on social media and get in trouble, or you can get your data stolen, or you can post nothing on social media, in which case people can't find out about you. So if you're looking for jobs, and let's say you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you could get denied an interview just because they couldn't find anything out about you. So, but the opposite end of that, you know, it's amazing. When I don't want to say it's anyone I know, because I don't know that many people, so I'm sure they can figure out who they are. But I've definitely seen there are instances where people have gotten denied jobs or interviews because of something that they posted on social media. My biggest fear, I always get to, are you related to Johnny Quest? Maybe it's a generational thing, but I don't know if I would have thought of that off the top of my head. Are there any other famous quests? I guess there's Questlove, but is that really his name? Yeah, that is kind of funny though that you say that. If I had a name that was recognizable, like my name is recognizable, but only to people who live in my area, because it's a very, I mean, my ancestors didn't change their name when they came off the boat when they got to America, is what I always tell people. So if someone says, hey, are you related to so-and-so with the same last name, chances are I am. Because it is just that unique of a last name. And I've done this too. If you try to Google yourself at one point, they actually suggested that we do that in college to see what would come up if you Googled your own name. And I actually found out there's another person with my exact name, but it's only one. There's only one other person out there that has my name, so I don't know what his middle name is, though. He is the complete opposite of me. It was hard to do a job with Quest. They thought the name was made up. Really? I guess I don't read into a name that much. I don't know. I guess if anything, I wouldn't think it sounds made up. I think it sounds, I mean, really, I guess you have it as a screen name, so I read it as like a professional name, like a stage name. Or a nickname. Kind of like instead of going by Nicholas, you would go by Nick. So that's why I would read it as that. And the same thing kind of going back to the Ben Heck show, which is kind of on my mind because it just ended a little while ago. But, I mean, he shortened his last name. So yeah, if I look that name up, I would think, well, it's got to be short for something. I can't remember what his whole last name is. Heck something. In the case of getting into that show, I actually just started watching that show only about 6 months ago, and it was right around the time he posted that he was going to be leaving YouTube, so I kind of got into it and then found out he was going to be leaving. Although I guess, you know, since I just started watching it, there's still a lot to watch. So I'm sure it'll be a while before I run out of content. So, other random thought. Never gets too quiet here. I hear the fan on my MacBook stroking. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot my last question. Sorry. What is the most useless power-up on Mario Kart 8? Or any of them? I have to think it's got to be the coins. You literally... I don't know... Oh... Really? I think I don't even know if I'm going to get top 3 on this race, guys. Let's see if I can pull this off. 2 green shells. Oh! Oh! From 6th to 1st in less than half a lap. But yeah, I think the coins have got to be the most useless. Wow, am I doing that? I guess I got 2nd first. I didn't realize I was tied for first instead of being first. Because what do they actually do? What do the coins do? Just rewatch all 10 seasons of Smallville. You know what? And this may sound a bit blasphemous. I actually watched Smallville when it was first on the air for about the first 2 seasons, and then a few years later we got them on DVD and we started watching them. But the last I watched Smallville was actually in the middle of season 5, right after, spoiler alert, right after, we'll just say, the business about his father. I always called him Bo Duke because that actor that played Clark's dad in Smallville was Bo Duke on The Dukes of Hazzard, which was pretty big in my household growing up. No, I didn't grow up in the 70s when it actually aired. It was actually on the new TNA, which eventually I think is now Spike. But yeah, I did like that show. I really thought it was good. I kind of thought the quality went a little bit downhill. This isn't the reason why I stopped watching it. It's just, you know, I was going to college and it became pretty much a time crunch just to get anything done. But yeah, I should probably go back and watch that. My friend is a huge Superman fan, so he actually owns all 10 seasons of Smallville. I should probably get those from him and eventually continue watching that. But recently I have watched The Flash, and I think, again, another personal opinion, I think that show is probably one of the better DC shows to come out in a while. I really enjoyed it. Now, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, yeah, there's some nitpicky things I can say about it, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I liked that they kind of went more, I guess, science fiction-y with the plot, rather than just, oh, I can run really fast. They went into that whole thing in the first season about the alternate timelines and the reverse Flash and the surprise with that. I don't know, I don't remember knowing a lot about the Flash before I started watching that show. And I went into it with a different attitude. Okay, it's just a show about another DC comic superhero. But I ended up really liking just the cast, the writing. All around a good show. I was going to say, the only thing I was going to say is kind of a downside is that it does kind of seem like a teenage soap opera at some points. Yeah, see. Oh yeah, I agree. Smallville, definitely the best take on Superman. Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed that show. It's kind of disappointing when I heard that he wasn't going to be... I mean, I guess it never really works out that way, but I think he would actually be good in the Superman movies as well. Not that the guy doing it now is not doing a good job. But the Flash and the Arrow came for small. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Again, I actually started watching The Flash because it was recommended from a friend of mine, and we have very similar taste. So I thought, okay, if he likes it, I'm probably going to like it. And I was right. And he told me to watch The Flash before watching The Arrow. So him knowing what I like made me decide to watch that show first. Although I did enjoy the crossover episodes that they've done with the Arrow. I don't really feel like I get most of what's going on because I don't know the characters very well. I mean, obviously I know who the Green Arrow is, but there's always that lab chick that accompanies them as well that someone has a crush on. I don't know if I really fully understand the intricacies of that plotline. So I always tell people it's in my Netflix queue. So I have The Flash in there, which I don't think I've seen any of Season 3 yet of that. And I do have the Arrow in my queue, it's not on my radar yet. Again, time being an issue. I'm trying to think when Smallville first came out. Was that 2000 or 2001? It was right around the time that I was actually in high school. And I think we graduated in 2004, and I think Clark graduated, I think, the next year, or maybe the same year. So I kind of felt like the show was a bit more relatable to me at that time, but now that I'm out of college, it's kind of weird going and watching a show of people in college now. It doesn't seem as relatable. Oh, I'm just getting clean. I must be in first place. Oh. Yes. As long as I'm able to take someone out with me. It doesn't work out always. Really wish I would have got the 2. Oh, that's the finish. I think I'm back down to... No, Villager got it. So I'm still in first place, but I'm not going to get the 5-star. I don't think I've gotten very many of those. Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm getting there. My niece was born in the year 2000, and she just graduated high school this year, and now she's going to the same college I went to. And so I guess, yeah, she would have been born the year that they started Smallville, if it started in 2000. So yeah, that's starting to make me feel old. My brother would probably kick me for saying that because it's his daughter, so. But that's kind of what started my debate about is the Wii Retro yet, because, I mean, from her point of view and my nephew's point of view, they were born 2000 and 2002. If, you know, the console they grew up with was the Wii, and probably the PlayStation 2 as well, because they played Rock Band on that a lot. But that's going to be the console that's like the Nintendo for me. I grew up with the NES. I mean, the Atari was there, but that was a little too late for me. I'm sorry, yeah, it was a little too early for me, I guess. So I grew up with I grew up playing the Nintendo Entertainment System more than I ended up playing the Atari. Yeah, but we're the same age in spirit. Is this Baby Park? Yes, it is. You know, it's kind of funny, those people are always kind of surprised to figure out what my actual age is, because I started, in my family, I always say that you either go gray early or you go bald early. So I was very happy at the age of 18 to see my first gray hair, because that meant that I wasn't going bald. My brother, on the other hand, laments that he has, in his senior picture, he has a huge receding hairline. So he's not completely bald yet. It just kind of started earlier. But I imagine it's not going to be too much longer. He's still hanging on to the few hairs he's got left. So because of my gray hair, people always think that I'm older than I am. Which is funny because when I turned 18, we went to a steakhouse restaurant. I'm not going to say which one it was because I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying which one it was. But we were celebrating my birthday, and the waitress came over, and she brought me a beverage, and said, "Even though it's your birthday, we still have to card you for this drink." And my mom said, "Well, what kind of drink is it?" She goes, "Oh, it's our house special." And she goes, "He's 18." So the waitress thought I was turning 21. That's the kind of that's what you want when you're younger. You want people to think that you're older. I was in my 20s when the NES came out. Wow. So, yeah. When the NES came out, do you mean like when it launched, like in October of '85 when that came out, or are you like when it came out in your area? Because I remember my older brothers, I'm trying to think. I'm the youngest in my family, so my oldest brother is about 10 years older than me, roughly. So I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but you say you're in your 20s. I don't want to point this out, but the historian in me wants to say you probably could have been my father. Now you're really going to feel old, but I'm actually in my early 30s, so... Hopefully I'm still into gaming as much as you are when I keep going older. I know that's something that makes you feel just young and everything, but I really feel like I was just listening to a podcast today when I was working, and they were talking about, pinball collectors. Like, what are people going to do with these old pinball machines that people have been collecting for thousands of dollars when they pass away? What are their family members going to do with it? And I thought to myself, a lot of people kind of view my obsession with video games as something that's childish, that's something I'll outgrow. And I keep thinking, I really hope that I'm still into gaming, still wanting to do this stuff when I get older. I mean... That's not the creepiest thing I've heard today. I'm not saying something. No, but that's cool. That's what I like about this, is that that's what I really like about the online community. That's something I did not expect. When I started getting more active on social media and starting a YouTube channel, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is going to be a great way to make money. I never went into it with that intention. I guess I started it, I don't know if I want to really try to, I guess I just wanted, just to see if I could do it. But what I did not expect was being able to meet and get along with a variety of people who I probably normally wouldn't otherwise either meet, either because they're not in my area, or I wouldn't take seriously because they're in different age brackets. Like, the other day I was talking to an 18-year-old who, he's streaming Fortnite videos, and he's into all the latest game streaming stuff, and, it's just amazing the variety of people you meet who all share the same passion you do. And so I guess, I don't know if it's not the social acceptance, but it's just, it kind of adds a sense of normalcy to what I do, because everyone in my family thinks I'm crazy. Now the game room behind me is actually in my basement, and so me being the creepy uncle, I always like to ask my niece and nephew, hey, want to come to my basement? So they're probably going to be embarrassed that I said that and I didn't even say who they are. So I mean, like I said, that's sometimes I feel like that's all I am. I'm the creepy uncle who has a basement full of video games, and I don't try to lure people down here or anything like that, but it's a hobby, so I like it. It just seems like since I'm in a rural area, you know, I live in a town of, we'll just say of a limited population. We'll say it's in between 1,000 and 10,000 people. It's one of those things where I don't feel comfortable sharing it. So there's not a lot of people who share the same passion I do, or at least who act on it. Oh, I got candy. You know what I should do? I should put out I should go to a garage sale and buy, or to an estate sale, that'd make it better, and buy like an old lady's candy dish that she used for many years, and her coffee table, and I should put that down. And then I should tell people, isn't it amazing that I'm certified to teach children in public schools? Oh my. Yeah, that's something I've learned through my job too, and I've seen it on here. A lot of people don't know it, but tech people, I think, have some of the best sense, have the best sense of humor out of anyone else in their work field. Or at least they know how to express it through the various means available to their disposal. Of course I get that motion at the end. Come to my basement, hat, video games, and candy. So if you're not interested in one, you can have the other. Oh my. I'm gonna give that suggestion to win. Oh, you should quote Charlie Sheen, winning. And yes, I pulled that reference out of the air. No one has talked about that in probably 10 years. That is how my mind works. Some obscure reference from 10 years ago just pops into my head. I remember having it at my school, at my high school. You know, I'm a senior getting ready to graduate, and we had to sit through the training of don't take rides from strangers. I mean, it's good advice, but it just seems kind of ridiculous to say it at that age. Isn't that common sense by the time you're... Don't take rides from strangers, don't even if they offer you candy. Like Chris Wardman. I'm trying to remember a joke. It's another obscure reference from not as long ago. Maybe let's say 8 or 9 years ago. I can't remember how it goes. I can just remember the punchline. That's part of my issue. It's I don't know, would a lion drive drunk? No, but a tiger would. Oh my gosh. Did anyone ever watch that cable show that Charlie Sheen did right after he left Two and a Half Men? Oh, it was called Anger Management. feel like that if I was paying attention to my gameplay and not trying to remember all these obscure references, I'd be doing a little bit better. But I wouldn't be having as much fun. So I'm skipping the highlight reels just as I normally would. Just good enough to see the trophy. We're getting there. I think I had 2,000 coins collected, and I was still earning vehicle customizations. So we've got a while to go before that happens. But really, my goal tonight is just to get through as much as I can, getting my trophies back. So yeah, it's not even as many stars. When I got these before, I was getting like 3 stars, and almost all these at 150cc. Surprisingly, the 150cc is easier than I remember. I think we should go with pink. Let's go with the pink Yoshi. Oh, I think these are my tires. Stop. Ah, it decreases acceleration, but I think those look like the tires I was actually using for a while. I'll just keep going with the stock formula and not worry about that. Am I finally? Oh, I forgot I was actually already in. Yeah, I actually already completed some earlier stages, so now let's go with the Turtle Cup. Yeah, no, well, the weird thing was about anger management is that the first 10 episodes, like they had like 10 episodes right in a row, and then they said if those did well enough, then they were going to film the next 90 episodes, get 100, because apparently the 100 episodes is the magic number for syndication, and they were going to film those all back to back to back to back to back until they were done, and then the series would end. And the problem was the first 10 episodes were actually, I'll say the first 2 were decent. They made a lot of references to his Tiger Blood tweet and to his job on The Good Show. And then it just slowly started going downhill, and then very quickly went downhill because I guess you need time to write quality material, and they weren't having it, so... Yeah, so it did get picked up for 100 episodes, but I don't know how far they got before they finally canceled it. But I remember at the time, when that, yeah, like I said, I initially liked it, but I don't like it anymore. It just wasn't good. The longer you watched it, the worse it became to watch. But at the time when it premiered, since so many people were aware of the, I call it the Tiger's Blood tweets and, his rant, it was the highest premiered cable show of its time. I still don't know if it's been beaten by any other show. Maybe Game of Thrones. But yeah, it had the largest viewing audience for a cable show for its first episode. And then very quickly went downhill. I wonder if... I mean, he probably has to. I don't know if there's a way they could keep him from doing it. But I wonder if Charlie Sheen still gets like a healthy check for every time those episodes still air. Like if he's still able to live off of that. Because I'm sure he very wisely manages his money. I mean, not that I manage my money any better, but I never made as much money as he did. I'm sure there's already a game out there like this, but I just thought of an idea for a video game. And just in case anyone's watching from like Nintendo or anyone, this is already copyrighted and trademarked and patented by, won't say the Player One Start Show for copyright purposes. But it'd be like a sim game. I guess it's probably not even a standalone game. They'll probably just make it an expansion for The Sims. But there should be a game where your goal is just to be a celebrity. And you should have to manage things like your social media status should affect how you score in the game. You know, you can choose what kind of celebrity you want to be. If you want to be just what I call a no-talent celebrity, a celebrity who's just famous for being a celebrity, you can be one of those, or you can be a famous actress or a politician. And so you should have to keep a social media profile, movie and TV appearances. It'd probably be a really boring game, but it's an interesting concept. Yeah. Not as much as you think for YouTubers. Yeah. I did think today, before starting this stream, that I actually sent out a tweet. I usually don't complain, and I did not mean this as a complaint. I was just pointing out kind of the irony of, since the new monetization policies of YouTube have gotten so many YouTubers, I mean, really riled up. And the fact that I've never, it didn't affect me at all because really I wasn't on YouTube much before then. But it affects me now because I'm trying to get to that magical 1,000 subscriber mark. But it kind of annoyed me just a tad, and like I said, I'm not meaning to complain about this, but it's funny that I know for a fact that this video is going to get flagged by Nintendo for copyright, and I think it's justifiable because I'm using their game in my streaming, and, you know, why not? But I think it's funny that Nintendo can, even though this is a video for better or for worse, this is my, I'm authoring it, I'm using their content, but I'd like to think that some of the content is mine, and they can make money off it. YouTube says that I have to have 1,000 subscribers before I can. So I guess maybe Nintendo has a channel and they have enough subscribers for that. So, but I think it's kind of funny that Nintendo can monetize channels that are, I'm sorry, videos on channels that include their content on channels of less than 1,000 subscribers. But I can't. And so I sent out that picture. It just reminded me of the, you know, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm big, you're small, you know. And I just think that's just interesting. But I think this will be the first time. I've actually done some other streams with Nintendo videos. I actually did a video, a Player One Start show, that I have not released. It is, I'll call it a lost episode. And I included, it was going to be on Super Mario Kart. I was going to start a retrospective for it, because I really love this series. If you can't tell, I've spent a lot of time playing it, because I'm even half paying attention to it now. And I'm still doing okay at it, I guess. But anyway, except for this auto stream, which I still got to remember how to shut off. But anyway, before I go off too much on a rant, it just irked me enough to take the video down. The Super Mario Kart Player One Start never went public because, well, of course, you knew I was going. Never went public because I saw it was flagged for copyright because it had music from Super Mario Kart in it, and that Nintendo was going to start airing commercials on it. And I thought to myself, at that point in time, I didn't even have 100 subscribers. I really did. I thought to myself, how are the people who watch my show, are they going to keep watching through a commercial that I don't get to determine how long the commercial is, or what? Will they keep watching my content if there's a commercial on it? So I took the video down, and I've done a couple live streams that I've taken down too. Super Mario Kart was a live stream. I did Super Mario Odyssey as my first live stream. I had to take those down because Nintendo was going to put commercials on them, or put ads on them. Well, I've gotten over the fact that they can do that now, so when I'm done, I think I'm going to leave this video up, at least as long as there's nothing embarrassing on it. And I went ahead and joined the Creators Program, and I'm just going to see how it goes. I've kind of gotten over the fact that they can do it. I think people know that I'll put a link, I'll put something in the description saying, hey, you know, this isn't me, this is Nintendo because I have one of their games. I assume other people have to be dealing with that same issue. You know, I think that, I don't know if other companies, like I don't know if Sony and Microsoft are going to start doing that too. I really hope they don't because, like I said, I have no problem with them actually, I have no problem with them saying that you're using their content, because we are. I mean, that's not the issue. But part of the problem is we're not making any money off the videos we do, and we're advertising their games pretty much for free. And for the most part, my experience, I don't find fault in a lot. So I'm not bad-mouthing. I think this is an awesome game. That's why I'm doing it. So I'm advertising Mario Kart for Nintendo. But that's not enough for them to say that. Even if I don't make money off of it, they have to make money. And I guess I can say, you know, this is going to sound like a stab at Nintendo. I guess they had to do something to make up their losses for the Wii U. No, I like the Wii U, but like I said, it wasn't for everyone. So I guess, you know, that's the only thing I'm concerned about, is that they're making money off of this, which I kind of felt was an homage or service to Nintendo. And yeah, they will. Yeah, so that's why I said I think Nintendo set a trend. Nintendo has always been the trend setter, at least as long as I've been alive. I mean, Atari probably was the first, but Nintendo really does set the bar for everyone else. I mean, when the Wii came out with motion controls, no other console had that. No other console was attempting to. Xbox spent 4 years developing the Kinect, and it was 4 years after the 360 came out that they finally even announced that they were doing something with motion controls. Same thing with PlayStation, and they had to kind of catch up. So I hate to say it, but this is one of those things that it's not a good trend, but I think it's one that's going to catch on because Nintendo started it. Yeah, Sega was an innovator. They looked at what Nintendo was doing and tried to raise the bar higher. I really liked Sega back in the day. Even though, I mean, the Nintendo and Sega Wars really set my mindset of not being too loyal to one brand. Because I like Nintendo, but there were problems with the Super Nintendo. I'm not going to deny that there was. It wasn't perfect. The Sega Genesis wasn't perfect either, but it was good for a whole bunch of other reasons. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog was about 5 or 6 of those reasons, but Sega. The problem with Sega was that they couldn't stop innovating. It seemed like, you know, they couldn't just leave a console alone for long enough for it to gain. Oops, I could be thinking. Woohoo! I was on a Mercedes. Still staying with the stock hardware. Why not? But I mean, even Sega looked at what Nintendo was doing and tried to copy them. Nintendo rumored that there was going to be a CD add-on for their console. Well, Sega didn't rumor it; they did it. They actually made it. Sega came out with the 32X to get the jump on Nintendo on a 32-bit console. I mean, they were heavily influenced by Nintendo. On the other hand of that, Sega had a lot of things that were very innovative. Their online service, which I don't think ever saw the light of day in North America, at least I never knew anyone had one for the Genesis, was there. The Saturn didn't do too well, but the Dreamcast, I was very unfairly prejudiced against the Dreamcast back in the day. Mainly because I was still, you know, had to be loyal to one console, so I was a Sony PlayStation person at that time. But the Dreamcast was very innovative. It was the first time anyone put in a built-in modem. The VNU, which was designed to be a portable game console as a memory card. I don't know who thought of that, but they came up with ideas and they just did them. But that's also part of the problem with Sega is that eventually, you know, like I said, they were never stuck on just one thing. They couldn't focus on one product and keep supporting it for a long time. So, like 32X and the Sega CD were, I guess, for lack of a better word, they were failures commercially. Very innovative. Sega Saturn didn't do too well, and before they even came out with the Dreamcast, they ended all support for the Saturn. So even in other markets where it was actually selling well. So, and when the Saturn came out, they ended all support for the Genesis. For the most part. I mean, they still came out with things like Vector. Other companies still publish games for it. But I guess that's the nice thing about Nintendo is, for better or for worse, they usually support their products for a long time. The original Xbox was Sega Dreamcast 2, but Sega sold it to Microsoft. You know, I've heard rumors about that. I think the biggest thing that Microsoft got from Sega was the online play. Because even the PlayStation 2, it didn't have online built in. That was an adapter you had to buy extra. And as a result, I never played the PlayStation 2 online ever. Because I never owned a broadband adapter for it. But Microsoft very much understood that network gameplay was what brought people to PCs. Like, I remember a LAN party back in the day and hauling around a 40 or 50 pound game tower that had Windows 98 installed on it. And a 3DFX graphics card and the whole works. So Microsoft really wanted a gaming PC that could be more portable for LAN parties, and eventually it was online too. So yeah, my first experience with online console gameplay was the original Xbox. My brother got one, and I remember he had a hacked version of Halo to allow them to play Halo online, because the first Halo didn't have online gameplay. So we were out in the middle of the country, out in the middle of nowhere, playing Halo against someone who was about 40 or 50 miles away, and that was my first online gameplay experience. From a console. I played online through the computer, through a PC. But the killer for me with the Xbox, and they did make it better eventually. The thing I didn't like about the Xbox was the controller. I was so used to a PlayStation controller by that time. I really didn't like having the joysticks in that awkward position. The controller was huge. Remember the ads of Bill Gates holding a controller and a hamburger or something like that? It's like, oh, it fits in your hand just like a hamburger. Like, well, I'm not usually trying to play games on my hamburger. But when they came out with the redesigned controller, which was a lot more natural, it still took me a little while, but by the time the Xbox 360 came out, I was used to it. But I think that's probably what Xbox was good until 2012, and now they said, yeah, I don't know. I have a 360, but I got it very late. I got it almost as soon as the Xbox One came out. I got it cheap at a retro game store. I think it was $80 at the time. It was the 4 gig version, and I just had a spare hard drive laying around, and I figured out how to format the hard drive correctly and get it going on there. And so I was finally able to play games like Halo 3 for the first time, Halo 4, games that weren't Halo. One game I really like, and it still irks me that it was only released on the Xbox. I love Serious Sam. I remember playing that game on PC at a LAN party, and I was instantly hooked. It's just the amount of enemies it throws at you is an insane amount of enemies. And the online version, I'm sorry, the only console version that they ever made came out for Xbox and Xbox 360. And I mean, if that were to come out for like the PlayStation 4, since I own one, I would still play that to this day. And so one of the games I was very excited to play, other than Halo, and yes, there's some other ones, I really wanted to play Serious Sam. The Xbox 360 just for one game and played it for 7 years. Was that one game, did it start with an H and end in Halo? I remember I was watching a special on the History Channel. It's actually Modern Marvels. That's how long ago it was. And they had a guy from Electronic Arts, I think, and he said that the only reason why people bought an Xbox was because of the game Halo. They said, this magical black box plays Halo. I must get one. I think he was being, if anything, facetious. But that's just something that kind of stuck with me. Fantasy Star Universe. Okay, that would have been one to buy too, yeah. I still haven't played that. Is it everything I hoped it would be? That's another game that I think is good for it. They had some other good, Forza. My gosh, my brother is really into racing games, and I really think, I mean, I like Gran Turismo, and he would be able to tell you the difference between Gran Turismo and Forza, but I like them both. I really think Forza, I think maybe has an extra layer of polish on it. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I really like Forza, but I never got to play it until I got the 360. Gosh, I think it's only been 3 years. I think it's only been 3 years since I got my Xbox 360. Actually, no, we got one a little while before that, because my mom got one before I did, because she wanted to play Kinect games on it. Which is the same reason why we ended up getting a Wii. My mom wanted to play the Wii Fit games on it, so I bought a Wii, and I remember it was the same way. Forza and so oh yeah, Forza is really, really fun. Another nostalgic story. I remember I was walking down the aisle in Sears, and that ought to tell you about how old this story is to begin with anyway, because I don't know how many Sears are still around. But that's where I bought my Wii. And I remember I had to sit there and wait, holding on to this Wii, because, I mean, I'd been looking for a Wii for about 6 months. I had been calling around to every GameStop, Kmart, there's another throwback name, every department store, every place I could think of that sold a Wii, Best Buy, Target, I mean, everywhere. And, I mean, we just couldn't find one. I mean, they were just, for like a year and a half after they came out, it was very, very hard for us to get a Wii. And I was at Sears just walking by their electronics counter, and I saw one in their case. And so I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. Well, I ran into an issue because they wouldn't take. I was still quite young. I had only had a checking account for maybe 2 years, and through most of those 2 years, I had a debit card, so I almost never wrote any checks. So when I tried to pay for it with my debit card, I ran into an issue. My bank limit wouldn't let me pay for the Wii. I think it was like $250, and then I wanted to get. I forgot what the game was I got with it. I don't think I ended up getting any other games with it. I just wanted another controller. That's what it was. Because Wii Sports was all I really wanted at the time, and they wouldn't take my check because of lack of credit history. So I remember I had to sit there for about 45 minutes waiting for one of my parents to come and help me buy the Wii. Yeah, it was the Wii though. It was hard to get in my area for months after it came out. Like I think this was a full week. that had one anyway, and bought the Wii Fit board. My mom was not too happy. I came back home and woke her up at 4 o'clock in the morning. She was excited at first, and then she's like, "Why didn't you wait till later on to tell me?" I'm like, "Well, I was up. You had to be up too." I want every color of the Wii console. How many colors did it come in? I completely forgot there was a mini edition that's red until I saw it in the Retro Game Shop the other day. I almost got it. Hey, it's Ghost Yoshi. Mainly because they're dirt cheap. And, not that I would ever do this, but I heard that the Wii is incredibly easy to hack and then put games on. So you can pretty much turn the Wii into your own little NES Classic, Super Nintendo Classic, and N64 Classic all in one. Got the Mini for $15. I can't remember how much they had it for there. I think it was $25 at that shop, and it came with controller, Joy-Con, all the hookups, and I think your choice of 2 games under $10 each. So, I mean, I could care less about the games. I already own a whole bunch of those. But I actually ended up, yesterday I did a live stream because I just got a Wii from Goodwill. It was $12. It's a full-size Wii though, it's not the Mini. The only thing it was missing was the power cord. I have inherited a whole bunch of controllers, and I didn't know this, but I also inherited a power supply for the Wii. So I ended up paying $12. It came with the Wii Fit board and all the hookups but the power cord. So I wanted it because now I have a capture device. Like my Wii has been in my living room for years because it's like the go-to what everyone will play. The Switch is also there, but some people really like playing the Wii instead. So I've kept that in my living room for a while. So anytime I want to play the Wii and capture stuff off it, I have to unhook everything and bring it downstairs. So I thought for $12, it'd be nice to get a device that's just my workhorse for capturing game footage. And now I can capture game footage for the Wii and do some Wii reviews. I also did the same thing for a PlayStation Slim, which they also have there, which was $10. And it came with all the hookups. It came with power cord. The only thing it didn't come with was a memory card, but again, I've got so many of those from other people getting rid of theirs for years. Before the Slim, I was using my full-sized PlayStation 2, which I've had since launch day. The problem with that one is that it doesn't fit on my shelf very well, and the Slim fits in a lot better. And it has a built-in network jack. So I hope, because now I have 2 PlayStation 2s, I hope to demonstrate games that are still fun to play over LAN on the PS2. So it's like a modern look at a console that was one of, not the first. Oh, there we go. It'll be kind of like a modern look back at a console that many people going to college will remember from their childhood. I wonder, has anyone tried to do... Yeah, and to tell you the truth, not talking about, I sold most of my gaming stuff, I miss it. Yeah, I've been back and forth on it. When I moved out of my parents' house, I had a lot of gaming stuff. And right before I moved out, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to have room for this in my apartment. It's only a 1-bedroom, living room and kitchen pretty much. So I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff I really wish I didn't. Because when I bought my house, I started recollecting some of the stuff again, and everything has swelled up in value so much just in the past 4 years. I mean, things were kind of high before, because I remember getting a decent price for my collection. I sold a lot of it to private individuals, because I really try to keep from selling things to a store. Partially because you get more money by selling it to a collector, but the other thing is you're also getting a better deal to someone who would appreciate it. So I always feel better doing that rather than selling it to a store whose only goal is just to make a profit off of it. And who knows, I've heard sometimes what they do with games that they can't sell is they destroy them and then throw them in the dumpster so that people can't go through the dumpster and grab it. That just irritates me so much that they do that. So I'm sure there was, I can't remember, what's the most valuable thing I gave away? The only things that I kept when I moved out into my apartment were things that people had donated to me, which to date includes an original Atari video computer system. That was actually donated to me by one of my former teachers, and Dreamcast. I didn't feel right getting rid of those because they gave those to me. It was a gift, so I really didn't feel like recollecting those again. And other than that, I actually did have an N64, but since I didn't own one as a kid, I got rid of it. And so when I went to recollect video games again, I had to go out and buy another Nintendo 64, which those have also started going up in price as well. But the only thing original in my collection is my original Nintendo, Model 2 Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and then the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I think that's it. Those are the only things that are original to my collection until the last 4 years when I started collecting them. A lot of the stuff that I have, oh yeah, N64, I really wanted one back in the day. My brother wanted the PlayStation, and he won out. So, collecting an N64 years later was really fun because I got to play a lot of great games that everyone else already knew about, but I had never played. Believe it or not, the first time I played Super Mario 64 was only about 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, it's been really fun. Banjo-Kazooie I remember playing that on a store display back in the day. Donkey Kong 64, I hate to say it, was a disappointment for me. I love Donkey Kong, and I guess I can look past some of the game's flaws, but I don't think that game aged well. Banjo-Kazooie is good, but it has the same style of gameplay like the collectathons. That you don't find games like that anymore. I guess Yooka-Laylee came out, which was built in the same style. But sometimes I say there's a reason why they don't make games the way they used to. Super Smash Brothers for the N64. If you didn't see that, I found that at a garage sale just recently. I've been wanting that game for a while. So, now that I remember that I have it, I'm thinking I might go play that after I'm done here. But I actually found an N64 and another copy of Banjo-Kazooie. 007, the Legend of Zelda games. Oh yeah. Like I said, those were all games that I only played within the last 5 years. Majora's Mask, I played last summer before I got Breath of the Wild. And, I mean, when people ask me what my favorite Legend of Zelda game is, I always say A Link to the Past. That's my go-to, because that's the one I grew up with. That's the one I'm most nostalgic for. Ocarina of Time is great. Everything about it is good. But it's not the one I grew up with. So, even though other people did, it's just... I'll always think Link to the Past is better, even though it took me... it took another YouTuber to point this out to me, that they're pretty much the same game. Only Ocarina of Time is in 3D, and Link to the Past is in 2D. But yes, when people call it like the best game of all time, I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but I really think I personally, just because I grew up with it, I think that Link to the Past is better. And of course, Zelda 2 will always be Zelda 2. I call it Zelda 2, the second one. It's kind of like the original Super Mario Bros. 2. If you ever play the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2, which was like the actual sequel, everything is exactly the same in terms of like graphics. The gameplay is obviously a lot more difficult, but I mean, that game to me reminds me of more like an expansion pack rather than a sequel. And Legend of Zelda is very different. Zelda 2 is very different than the first one, but to me, I don't remember it being bad necessarily back in the day. I just remember it being underwhelming. Not as good as the first one. So I always called it Zelda 2, the second one. Or what's that joke from Spaceballs? We'll be willing, God willing, we'll meet in Spaceballs 2, the search for more money. So I'm probably hurting someone's feelings out there, but I always feel like I have done something wrong as a human being, just in general, if I ever get hit by a green shell. Like, somehow I have failed at life if I let a green shell hit me. Because it is so incredibly difficult to hit something with a green shell. You actually have to be trying to get hit by a green shell if you get hit by one. And that's happened to me like 400 times since I've started. Yeah, I don't know if I said this before, but I've actually noticed I've spent the majority of my time in first place in this game. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just kind of noting it. And I have not gotten hit with a spiny shell. Almost. I mean, yeah, it's been often, but not as often as it was when I was in first place on the Wii. Mario Kart Wii is just relentless with the spiny shells when you get in first place. If you only play one game for the rest of my life, what would it be? Oh gosh. That is a great question. My answer may be disappointing. The first one that came to my mind, which I'm sure is not going to be the one I would pick, but the first one that came to my mind was Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. I mean, honestly, the Crash Bandicoot games just kept getting better and better and better as they, for the first three. There were a lot of people who didn't like the, I got the spiny shell again. That is amazing. I'm surprised I had no idea you could do that until now. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot was my favorite. Yeah, I mean, it really was. Another odd story, maybe too much information, but that was the first game I got for the first PlayStation. My parents felt bad because I was sulking when we got a PlayStation 1. I really wanted a Nintendo 64, and they knew that they were going to disappoint me if they got the PlayStation. But they were going to make my other brothers so happy, so they did it. I guess they loved him more, I guess. And not knowing a darn thing, I had no idea what games were out for the PlayStation. I knew about the PlayStation, but I never thought I'd own one. And I just looked at the shelf, and we got a PlayStation late. I mean, it was 1999. The only game console I had before the PlayStation 1 was the Super Nintendo. So we had the Super Nintendo from 1991 until 1999. And so when I picked a game, I was like, this one looks interesting. I picked up Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. It was a greatest hits game, so my parents were excited because they spent less money on it, which I didn't know anything about. But Yeah, and ever since then, I mean, that game won me over just in that game. Just, I think within the first 5 bosses I played. I'm sorry, the first 5 levels. I was just hooked, and I thought, wow, is every game on the PlayStation like this? My brother's first game, on a side note, was Need for Speed High Stakes, which I like Need for Speed for the PC, so, I mean, that was a good game, too. Disruptor was my first thing, Crash Beat. You know, there's not a bad choice there either. Disruptor was, I thought, very underrated. I ended up finding that just recently at a retro game store. I guess it's been about a year now. And the reason why I picked it up is because I actually didn't know that Insomniac made that game. And I love almost every game Insomniac has ever made. Spyro, Ratchet & Clank, the Resistance series. I really like Insomniac's games, and I was not disappointed in Disruptor. That would have been an awesome first game. I got hit by another green shell. Yeah, once I played Disruptor, Ratchet & Clank made a lot more sense to me, because I kept thinking, you know, Spyro the Dragon was pretty cool. My brother actually played Ratchet & Clank at someone's house, and this was in 2005-ish, 2006, right before the PS2 came out. He told me, hey, if I ever get a chance and I'm at Walmart, dig through the $20 bin that they have for PlayStation 2 titles and buy Ratchet & Clank. And so I did, and then I went back the following week and I bought the other 2 because I was instantly hooked. But I kept thinking, man, Ratchet & Clank is just so different from Spyro. And I kept thinking about all the crazy weapons they come up with and everything, and I didn't think about it until, like I said, years later. Disruptor is kind of the same way. It's that first-person shooter. It just made Ratchet & Clank's gameplay style make a lot more sense. Like, why was it so good, and why did they come up with all those crazy weapons? Well, you can tell I'm in first place because I got inked. I got a spiny shell and a red shell all in a row. Now I keep getting lightning like every 4 seconds. You know, it's like Nintendo. It's like the game knows when I'm saying the game is easy. Because every time I say that, I get hit like 400 times. This is the 150 cc's I also like the first Crash Bandicoot, but I kind of felt like, I mean, I played the series backwards. So I started with Crash 3, and then I played Crash 2, and then I played Crash 1. And so I think that's the way to play it, though. I really think playing the game series backwards allowed me to like the series better. Because as you play the games backwards, like, I think Crash Bandicoot 3 is, I guess, I don't want to say easy, but it's not too challenging. Crash Bandicoot 2, though, I think has a slightly higher level of difficulty. And then Crash Bandicoot 1, I think is the hardest out of the trilogy. So I think it's really has a good progression as you work backwards. I mean, the story is not really anything to... You're not going to ruin anything. The story's not going to be ruined for you by playing it backwards. So. Yeah, I like Crash 1, but I think if you, especially since the Insane Trilogy came out, one of my friends and I started with the first one, and I guess, I have some things to say about Crash 1 on the Insane Trilogy. I mean, I really think something was lost in translation. I don't think they did as good of a job porting that game over. But anyway, I like Crash 1. I don't know if I would have called it the best, but I thought it was a good way to end the series because it was just a lot more difficult. Wow. I got hit with a green shell, lightning bolt, and This game is just not good enough, is it? But I agree, it's definitely, I mean, now here's a good question for you then. If you played Spyro 2, which game would you like better? Crash or Spyro? I know I've already heard Crash 1 is the best. I said if I could only play one game for eternity, that I would play Crash 3. I mean, the problem is that question is it's just a bit unfair. Because, I mean, I'm saying that, but I've already played, you know, there'll be a time where I wish I could go back. Super Mario Bros. 3 is an awesome game as well. It's actually my favorite Nintendo game ever. I've just played that thing so many times. But I don't know if I can see myself playing that for the rest of my life. I mean, I guess if I was smart, I would have said the Insane Trilogy. Because then I could play all the things. Yeah. Crash or Spyro? I mean, the problem is, the only reason why it's tough is because you only have to think about it if you were forced to choose. I mean, because otherwise, why not play both, right? Oh. Gotta say Crash? Yeah, I'd say Crash too. And I only base that on the third Spyro game. Because even Insomniac, when they were making that game, they said they were having a hard time figuring out how to make more levels with Spyro because their options were really limited with him. And I feel like with Crash, the options just kept getting more and more. Did you ever play, I'm sure you have, the Wrath of Cortex for the PlayStation 2 and eventually the GameCube and Xbox? If you have, what did you think of that game? Get that here. You know, I would actually, if I were to do a retrospective on Crash, which I'm sure will eventually be featured on my channel, I would go so far as to say that the Wrath of Cortex was the last great Crash Bandicoot. A lot of people say the third, like the Naughty Dog ones, were the best, but I would extend that only because I think that was the last game that really felt like it was a Crash Bandicoot game. I mean, Twinsanity, I liked it for certain reasons, but it's definitely different than all the rest of it. And of course you had like Mind Over Mutant and Crash the Titans, which I didn't even know existed until I saw it in a retro game store. Because those were like the last PS2 games ever to come out. But it was the only one that stayed true to the formula. You get a level select screen, it's not open world, you're still kind of forced to linear paths. And I remember at the time, that was like a sore point. Like a lot of people said, oh, why didn't they make Crash open world and free roaming now if they don't have to worry about the polygon count? And I said to them, well, it's because that's not Crash Bandicoot. I mean, think about it this way. If they came out with New Super Mario Bros., which focused on the traditional gameplay when it was a 2D side-scroll. What's to stop them from making a new Crash Bandicoot? Which I really sincerely hope happens. PS2 SSX games. Wow. Oh my gosh, I remember, yep, SSX was that was kind of a here and gone type game, wasn't it? I really like the SSX games, but they did not. I think they were exclusive to the PS2, weren't they? Like they never made it beyond that generation. Like there wasn't an SSX for PS3, was there? Yeah. There's definitely not one for the PS4, as far as I know. Yeah, I sincerely hope that after they're done remastering, they finally come out with a Crash Bandicoot. I'm sure they'll want to call it number 4, or you know, me being me, I would still buy a remastering of the Wrath of Cortex. Yeah. Oh, come on. It's not like I couldn't see it. You know, it's only because I just played the Wii version recently, but I'm noticing, did they make it easier to hit things with the green shell? Or am I just getting worse at this game as I play on through the night? Yeah, like I said, I would settle for a remaster. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice, but I mean, heck, I was excited for the... Oh no, I did it too soon. At least I took that toad. Like, I'm kind of excited for the Spyro remaster. I think I'm going to go 4th. Yep. Wow. You know, a game really needs a remaster, or at least maybe a reboot? Crash Team Racing. Like, if they made a Crash Team Racing, a new one, that featured new tracks, but also had remasters of old tracks, kind of like Mario Kart 8. Yeah, I agree. I kind of felt like I was hoping that when the Insane Trilogy came out, that the people who grew up with it would... Oh, did I get silver? Wow. I was not on my game on that one, but I kept getting hit by stuff. I think the game is getting a bit more challenging. Yeah, like, I really want to go back now and play the first Crash Bandicoot on the original console, because before I started doing the Play Almost Start show and I initially started this channel, I did a complete, not a stream, but I recorded myself playing through the entire Insane Trilogy. And that was the first video I ever uploaded. Nobody watched it. So... So I can just see what I'm up to. But when I played them in the order I played them in as a kid. I played it, 3, 2, and then 1. But when I got to 1, everything just seemed off. I remember thinking when I was like, in boulders, for some reason my timing was off on my jumps. And I remember thinking, I play this game at least once a year, and I don't have any of these problems. And then I got to the high road. And I could sum up a review of that in one sentence, but it would not be politically correct or advisable for me to say language like that online. But, oh my gosh, that level just... somehow it is broken. It is definitely not... I remember that game, that level was challenging, but I don't remember it being ridiculously hard like it was on the Insane Trilogy. I don't know, the high road just... I'm not talking about Road to Nowhere. Road to Nowhere is by no means as difficult as the high road. But that level can just... They might as well have left that level out. I knew I was going to hit myself with that. I should be an next live stream. You know what? Maybe do the Insane Trilogy. I did get it for the Switch, but do you want me to do the remaster? Or do you want me to do the originals? Because I'll do either or. I just got the, right before I had to send my Switch in, I got the Insane Trilogy for the Switch. And I only got it for the Switch because, again, portability. So if I was sitting, you know, if I'm sitting on my lunch break at work, I can knock out a level or two of Crash Bandicoot, I would do that. Original? Absolutely. Should I do it the way I played it, 3, 2, and then 1, or should I start off 1, 2, and then 3? Yeah, I kind of feel like I'll do it 1, 2, and then 3. I guess I'll say that that's the way I play it now. I only did the Insane Trilogy in reverse order because I wanted to have the same experience I had when I was younger. So yeah, I'll try to start off with the first one. My guess is if I tried to sit down in one sitting, I probably couldn't beat the first one in one sitting. It's still kind of challenging to me. Definitely not as challenging as it is on the Insane Trilogy. I did see. I haven't played it yet. I did play Stormy Ascent on the Insane Trilogy, and I mean that level was tough, but it was designed to be that way. But have you played Future Tense, which is the one they just redesigned for Crash Bandicoot 3? I've seen people play it online, but because my copy of Crash Bandicoot... I'm sorry, not my copy of it, my Switch wasn't working, so I couldn't play it. Oh my god. Yeah, I think as the night wears on, I'm going to be a little bit tired. Now, is this the... Yeah, this is the Super Nintendo version. So because I did some research for the Super Nintendo version, I think eventually I will release the Super Mario Kart video. I may have to refilm it so that my scenes are in 4K. My gameplay on Super Nintendo games are not in 4K because, again, I'm capturing it on a DVD recorder. But anyway, when they were not beta testing, but when they were designing the Rainbow Road level for the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, they actually kept running into issues with the AI. The computer drivers kept driving off the track because the track was too difficult for the computer to beat it. So they made some last-minute changes by making the track a little bit wider, and that's also, I think, why, why the track's wider on here. Because yeah, they just designed it too narrow, and so even though the players could beat it, the AI kept falling off the track. So I guess it made it way too easy to win, unless you kept falling off the track as much as the computer did. I forgot where I read that at. But it's little stories like that. That's part of the reason why I like researching the history of video games. Because, oh my gosh, right at the end I get hit with something and it takes me out of first place. I should try staying in second place for as long as possible and then try to go for the lead right in the last lap. Yeah. There's another YouTube channel I started watching can't remember how long ago it's been. It was just before I started my own YouTube channel. And they went through basically all the changes that Super Mario World had before, from the time they announced it to the time that it actually came out. And they had screenshots of the game, and I sat there going, wow. Like, one of the biggest differences that I didn't notice was the turtles, the Koopa Troopas, were designed like they were in Super Mario Bros. 3. They were actually walking on all fours in the original screenshots. And in Super Mario World, they're all standing on 2 feet. That's kind of neat. So I think that's kind of weird because when they first started developing Super Mario World, they really were just going to make Super Mario Brothers 4. And then Super Mario World ended up being the end result. Which is probably why I like that game so much. I do like Super Mario World a lot, but when I was younger, again, sorry to say the age here, but I was around 6 or 7 when that game came out, and I remember I could not for the life of me figure out how to make Mario fly. I mean, just, I can get him up in the air, but having him maintain the of his actual flight, for some reason I didn't have the dexterity in my fingers to actually do that. Yeah, I can't remember who it is now. There's a couple people who do. It's not the gaming historian. Maybe it's the other one where he went through all the differences. I find that stuff fascinating. Mainly because I was a history major in college, and video games have always been a passion, so it kind of seemed natural I'd be interested in the history. And Atari's story is just so fascinating, too. I think it's funny that in 1982 when Blade Runner came out, they had all those huge Atari advertisements on all the buildings in the background. And when they remade, or I guess they didn't remake, they made a sequel to Blade Runner just last year. They still included the Atari advertisements. Because, you know, back in the 80s, who would have thought that Atari would be out of business by the end of the decade? I mean, that's just... I think I've seen that video. My wife loves Super Mario. Oh, yeah. I mean, who doesn't? I guess Super Mario introduced people who weren't gamers into gaming in the 80s, I think. I mean, they literally defined for the entire 2D generation what a video game should be. I think it's kind of funny that kids today have no idea that we didn't call them platformers back in the day. We just called them games, or it was like an action game. You know, there was no such thing as a platformer, it was just video games. Yep. I can't remember when they first started calling them platformers. Was that like when Super Mario 64 came out? I remember when I first heard the term platformer, I thought platformer meant like any game that featured the intellectual property of the game company. So I thought Crash was a platformer because Crash is Sony. And then Mario was a platformer because Mario is Nintendo's mascot. Like, I thought it was the game of that platform. Yeah. Did you see my Virtual Boy? I remember when they put so much into VR and it flopped. Oh, yeah. And again, that's when everyone talks about how VR is going to be revolutionizing this or that. There's a lot of buzz in education about it, about how VR is going to take over education. And I sat there going, you know what? Why now? It's been out for years, and people don't seem to realize that VR is not a new concept. It's just getting better. Then again, wasn't the Virtual Boy more like 3D? not VR. Tolero Box over here. Oh, come on, that was a cheap shot. Well, this is not going the way I thought. Give me something good. Give me a star or something. Take it. Did he have a mushroom too or something? Yeah, I'm not doing so great now. Yeah, and to me, it's not that surprising that VR isn't doing so well. I mean, part of the thing, I kept thinking that 3D was going to be a fad that went away too, partially because in the 1950s for movies it kind of came and went, and then it just got better, so it came back for a little bit. But I think part of the problem with VR is that, for example, like, how often do you see people who are watching TV and don't check their phone during it? You know, like, or they're, you know, on the computer, but they're also on social media checking their notifications. It's very hard, and when you're in VR, you have to be all-encompassed into it. You can't just pause VR, pull up the headset, get out your phone, and then look at it. I think it has to be something that is... Oh, I still got first. That was lucky. Sorry, I was... Again, kind of that talking and breathing at the same time. Gotta focus on one or the other. But I think it's because once they can come up with something that's VR, that I guess, I don't know, I thought like Google Glass may be something that comes out because it's something that can be VR, but you can also integrate it into your daily life. Something that's like more like augmented reality. I don't know. I got kind of a scattered brain. How many more trophies I got to get? I stopped keeping track. Maybe gold. Oh, I got the Kitty Mobile. The Cat Cruiser. I still don't have half of the vehicle customizations that I had before, but we're getting there. Oh, is this it? Whew. One more and I got all my trophies back. At least up to 150cc. But anyway, yeah, so I think that it's kind of weird because cell phones are something that you can add to whatever you're doing. You know, you don't have to... And in VR, you can't do that. You have to be focused completely on VR or nothing at all. I think it's the same thing with 3D movies. Because when you're watching a 3D movie, you have to wear those special glasses. If you try to look anywhere other than the screen, it just looks weird. Especially if you look at your cell phone screen. You have those 3D glasses on. It's like there's a lot of people who just watch Netflix. Thanks. There's a lot of people who just watch Netflix as like background noise. And they just integrate it into what they're doing, so they could be watching something, or they could be, you know, working on schoolwork, or doing whatever else, cleaning the house and watching Netflix. And it's just something that you can integrate into yourself. But there's not a lot of times where people are just focused on one thing anymore. Like right now I'm playing video games, but I'm also online chatting, so... So that was why, I don't know if I explained it well, but that's why I think that VR is not doing as well as people thought it would do. It doesn't really seem surprising. Oh yeah, Ready Player One, that's the kind of VR where I kept thinking, okay, yeah, that is what it's going to take. You are 100% correct. You know the problem with VR in those movies, though? And I don't want to say, like, all like Player One stuff, but the always thing, whenever they put themselves in a fully submersive environment, how do they walk around? Like they're always in. If they're in the VR environment, they're walking around. Are they just walking on like a treadmill that doesn't go anywhere, or? I did see something on Shark Tank once, where they showcased like a little VR setup where you can walk in place. But I don't know. I find it very disorienting because I tried the Google Cardboard VR. Whenever the image moves when I'm sitting still, it makes me, I don't want to say dizzy, but it instantly makes me disoriented. Because I'm expecting myself to be walking when I'm actually not. So, yeah. I should have got rid of those bananas for the last question mark one. Nice of calling in sick for VR. Oh, I'm sure have people called into work because they are on social media too much. You know, I'm just trying to think. I don't think I've ever done that. I'm just thinking about if I've ever called into work because I was up late gaming or I wanted to keep gaming. I don't think I've ever done that. Isn't that the sign of you have a problem? When your addiction starts interfering with your day-to-day life. So until I call in sick for work because I was doing up late gaming or movie gaming. I couldn't imagine. I could definitely see people getting sucked into VR though, like in Player One, or Ready Player One. If it was like that, I can see people wanting, it's kind of like Avatar. You know, they say, why would you want to be in the real world when you can be in the fake world and be whatever you want? That's part of the attraction to video gaming to begin with. For some people, it's the only way they can experience certain things. Me personally, I've always said that I don't like doing online gaming because I always video game when I want to be away from other people. I need to pay more attention to what I'm doing on here. So I always tell people if I want to play video games, I don't play online because if I'm going to be antisocial, I prefer to do it by myself. Well, I think the first sign that people are getting sucked into like virtual reality is, I mean, take a look at Bitmoji. I mean, I don't know if it's Bitmoji or if it's part of Snapchat, but everyone is sending those cartoon caricatures of themselves instead of pictures of themselves. So I think it's already started. People don't want to show their face on there, so they've already come up with their own little digital avatars. That's step one right there. And the only problem I see is that I couldn't imagine growing up in this kind of environment where people have that opportunity. You know, think about how important self-image is to someone who's growing up in middle school and high school, and they have access to a tool that allows you to show a little cartoon picture of yourself. So that's kind of my thought process on the whole thing, is just so because I'm kind of a smart aleck, the first thing I do when somebody sends me a picture of their Bitmoji doing anything, I send a real picture of myself doing whatever their Bitmoji is doing right back to them. So there was somebody sent a picture of their had a cartoon picture of themselves doing something, and I forgot what it was. I think they were laughing, crying, and putting their palm up to their face. So I sent a picture of that right back to them, only I tried to duplicate it as best I could with me. And they said what they thought I was doing was weird. And I said, me? I didn't come up with a little cartoon picture of myself doing that same thing. I guess I shouldn't do that. It is weird. But I'm just pointing out, I think what I did was just as weird as what they did. He didn't even need it. He already had an item and he went for the 2 box because that's what I always go for. It's like the game knew it would have it. I like sarcasm. I like sarcasm too. The only problem is sarcasm can get you into trouble when it's in writing. So I think the greatest invention since they've invented like texting and social media posts were emojis. Because if I didn't send that little smiley face of me laughing and crying every single time I made sarcasm, I don't think I'd have it. I wouldn't have any friends. Because I say things that are, if you don't hear how I say them and you don't know sarcasm, it could sound really. I might take that back. This boomerang, I think, is one of the worst power-ups, too. I don't think I've ever hit anything with that. That gets me in trouble a lot. Yeah. Oh, the final race! I don't think I'm gonna get the gold. I have to actually fight for the bronze cup in this one because I'm tied for silver. Oh yeah, this is F-Zero 2. You know, I like this track, but I don't think I can't remember if it's this one or the other one that they don't pick very often on the online play. The Marx Brothers. I want to say they were on, was it AMC, was it? Along with the Three Stooges in the morning. I used to watch that on Sunday mornings for a while. It's that classic kind of humor. I'll get me. So give it up. It's actually kind of funny that Toad is the person I've been battling against most of the time here. Because I used to play as Toad a lot when it was Mario Kart 64. Super Mario Kart, my go-to was Koopa Troopa. Yoshi too, I guess. Oh. Oh, they're really throwing everything at me trying to get me to fail at this. Yeah, there's Toad. You know what? Sometimes this auto steering is not bad, but it is preventing me from going places I do want to go. Not there, but... well, I guess maybe there. I think I heard me earlier about the coins being the lowest. Yeah, I love this track. But I can't, this must be the one, I can't remember. I think this is the one they don't play online too often. Well, I got another silver, but let's see the results. think that's going to do it for me tonight, because now I have all of my trophies back. It will probably take about another year for me to get all of my vehicle customizations back. I still haven't gotten the one that I play the most on here. I really like the squirrel canopy. I usually use that one. And the Legend of Zelda Link wheels with, I can't remember which card it is now, because there's a couple of bounce back and forth between the two of them. But anyway, maybe this will give me the credits if I keep going. Yep, there it is. And again, this will probably be another copyright claim against Nintendo for me showing the movie here, but I'm just going to show a little bit of it. So yeah, I played all of them except for the first one on here. Because I played the first one just to test out, make sure my Switch was working. I didn't want to find that out on the stream because I might have some choice words for it. But, oh, thanks, Nick. I appreciate you. You were here for almost the entire stream, weren't you? I really do appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Of course, I'm always a little bit more self-critical of my performance, but because I did get 2 silvers, so that's going to bug me. Maybe when I get off the stream, I'll get those into gold afterwards. But I think, yeah, usually just talking and doing this at the same time usually doesn't work out for me. Yeah, I appreciate you sitting in through the stream, and anyone else who I missed coming in through here. I know T-Tech Trap was on for a little bit. But again, I plan to keep this video up, so if anyone else wants to watch it, they can, even though Nintendo's going to put a copyright claim on it. Sometime, I guess when I get more subscribers, I will probably start posting more Nintendo stuff. But until that time, I'm just going to leave it as is. So, yeah. Well, except this was unplanned. Tell people, so LOL, yeah, next time tell people a day before. Yeah, this was unplanned. I got my Switch back this afternoon, and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So yeah, next time, I do plan to, in the future, actually start coming up with like a schedule for streaming. The problem is, it's just because I work 2 different jobs. Yeah, that's true too. Retweet the video. I should definitely do something like that, because if I can get a schedule down, the problem is because I work 2 jobs and I have I teach classes online. Depending on how many people I'm teaching online at a time, that number can vary. I mean, I have a lot of students right now because it's the summer and there's a whole bunch of kids either trying to make up credit or get ahead on credit. So, and then I still work full-time throughout the summer as well. So because that schedule is a little bit iffy, I don't know always when I'm going to have time to do this much ahead of time. But yeah, if I can get a schedule down, or at least let you guys know a day ahead of time, I'll do that. But again, thanks for sticking with me. When I'm live, I don't really have a good outro except for my usual scripted outro. So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and I guess that'll do it for tonight. Thanks again. What, are you still here? The stream's over. Go home. Sorry, I just want to do the Ferris Bueller goodbye.